Our guest today, Dr. Brittany Stallworth, also known as DrFitBritt on Instagram. We're really happy to have you here. This is a perfect place to talk about fitness and mental health. A topic that I really love because I really like the gym and weightlifting. So this is perfect for me. Brief introduction. I'm going to let you introduce yourself, but just reading about you, you are from Detroit and you went to Howard undergrad. You went to Wayne State for medical school, and now you are a third year resident at Morehouse School of Medicine. And I just want to point something out here. Morehouse School of Medicine still has you as a PGY2,
They will
right?
eventually update the
They
website.
have to. They have to. Yeah. Shout out to
Okay.
Morehouse. Shout out to Morehouse.
Yeah.
Hey,
So,
I've met Brittany like this year. When was it? Was it May? Something
Yeah.
like that. I went to a conference that Morehouse invited me over. They had a nice conference about diversity, inclusion in the Black community, and having more psychiatrists in the Black community, and it was amazing. And I had the chance to meet the beautiful people at Morehouse and the residents, and Brittany was there, and Brittany gave a amazing talk about mental health and fitness, and this is why she's with us today, and hopefully more people can be influenced by her experience and her knowledge because that's what she is. She's an influencer now. So
that's
yeah.
right.
So thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Was
Yeah.
there anything that you wanted to add that I didn't add on your bio?
No, I think that's okay. I think that sounds
Okay.
good. I like
Okay. So,
perfume in the background, but otherwise,
Yeah. Tell me about that. I follow Brittany on social media, and I think that I did not know that you have is it a hobby about perfume, or is it a business, or what
oh,
is it? Like you can't
oh,
possibly use all of them.
not in this lifetime, but share them, and so I collect them, and I also break down bigger bottles into smaller bottles for people to purchase so they can try different scents. But fragrance is one of those things. It's like I smell it, and it's not. I'm not having a seizure when I say this, but then I can like feel it. I can see it. I can taste it. I have a whole experience with fragrance, so it's my thing. It's my thing that's just for joy.
that sounds like an
Amazing.
LSD trip.
I am not involved in that. I was just telling
Uh,
you my experience.
Not that I know anything about it. I'm just saying
Sure.
from people that tell
Sure.
me. I
Yeah,
know
Aren't
nothing
you,
about any
Dimitri,
of it.
aren't you from the 60s? Or I'm aging you. No, you're not from
Am
the
I?
60s.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great.
Ooh, I
That's
did
great.
not say
Okay, so
it.
can we get back to on topic here? Thank you
Yes,
very much.
we can go back.
So, Brittany, you are known on Instagram as Dr. Fitbrit. So at Dr. Fitbrit, if you want to find her, she's got a huge following. How did that name come up? Did you come up with it, or did somebody give it to you?
It was college. So I played softball in college. And eventually I stopped playing softball because I knew I wanted to go to medical school. But when I stopped playing softball, I gained a little bit of weight. And so towards the end of like junior year, beginning of senior year, I started to work out and I was always at the track. I was making my friends go with me. And so that's when they started calling me Dr. Fitbrit, kind of like, almost as if I was a drill sergeant. But then the name just kind of stuck. So
Yeah,
um, it
yeah,
was one of those things where it was like the beginning of like my own personal fitness journey, not as part of a
right.
team or as an athlete. And so the nickname just stuck.
Yeah. I recall when I went to med school, I maybe it was an excuse, but I always thought that I had, like enough time to work out in med school, or maybe it was just an excuse. I don't know. So how did you reconcile first of all leaving softball basically because I'm thinking that you don't have enough time to fit in your schedule, but how did you reconcile your lifestyle in terms of working out in med school and make it stick together up until now in residency? How did you make that work?
I just did what I could. So some days that meant I had, 45 minutes to an hour in the gym. Some days that meant that I had 10 minutes, but I always did something. Um, my mom, so at first, fitness was about vanity, right? Because I said I gained some weight and I was like, I'm going to get fit. So it really wasn't
Yeah.
about anything but vanity. But then it became more personal when my mom got sick and she lost her ability to move. And so movement just became very important to me. Beyond that, in the season of like taking care of my mom when she got sick, I also had a 7-month-old baby when I started med school.
Wow.
So taking care of a lot of different people, that 10 to 45 minutes, whatever it was on any given day, was like a really important time for me to just kind of decompress. And so it became a little bit more personal as far as like my mental health. So I just decided to do something every day.
Yeah,
That's great.
yeah. Were you, I'm sorry, I'm gonna ask a question. I'll let you go, Dimitri, but were you aware at that time, was it a conscious decision to lean into fitness for your mental health? Is it something that you realized while you're doing it that your psyche, your mental health was at a better space working out?
Yeah. Eventually, I don't think initially it wasn't. Initially it was just like, um, I have to do 10 minutes a day because I want to be here for like my children and their children. Watching my mom get sick was probably the moment where it became more than just like about how I look, right?
Hmm.
Then eventually I realized, oh, I really like the way this makes me feel. But initially it was more of like a deep kind of purpose. I want to see my kids and my grandkids get old. And so I
Yeah,
have to do something every day type of thing.
yeah, yeah, makes sense.
So, what do you enjoy more right now? Do you enjoy being a fitness influencer on Instagram, or do you enjoy being a psychiatry resident
I think
at
it's so
Morehouse?
wild to hear myself referred to as a fitness influencer. Like,
Well,
uh,
that's how we're gonna go with. That's what we're gonna
I,
go with.
it felt good. Thank you. It
We're all about good feelings here.
But a fitness coach, I'll say coach is
yeah,
also feeding, right?
I think both. I actually use a lot of the things that I talk about on social media as far as working out with my patients.
Okay,
Um,
yeah.
so I enjoy both. I will say that psychiatry can be hard, right? Some of the cases can be very difficult and like just emotionally challenging. And so
Hmm.
um, I appreciate both aspects in that I feel like my fitness journey kind of prepares me to deal with some of those more challenging aspects within my job in psychiatry. And then fitness also allows me to kind of decompress from my job in psychiatry. So they kind of go hand in hand. I don't know that I don't think I could be one without the other, to be honest.
Beautiful,
Okay.
beautiful.
Did you? How did you go from? What did you do in at Wayne State when you were playing softball? What were you studying, and how did you decide to go from softball player, student to deciding to go to medical school? Because it seems like from what I'm reading on your bio, is there was a lot of steps
Mhm.
between the time that you went to medical school and the time that you were at Wayne State. You founded a business, and so how did you decide to do that?
Yeah, so I actually was at Howard when I played softball. I went to Howard for undergrad.
No.
And what happened was organic chemistry, quite frankly. And
Really?
I had never had to study that hard. I had never had to like go to a teacher's
Yeah,
hours that much. I had never had to like get a tutor and put that much effort into anything. And softball didn't allow for that. And I knew there was also Orgo too. And so I was like, well, I can't play this anymore.
right,
Because I knew that I wanted to, at the time, I didn't know if I wanted to be a physician or go into research, but I knew either way that that class had to get knocked out. And so that was actually why. So thank you, organic chemistry, for ending a
your
career.
Org-
softball career.
yeah. Organic chemistry ended a lot of things for a lot of
I
people.
know. I mean, organic chemistry. When I passed that class, I knew I was going to be a doctor. After I passed organic chem, before then, it was still up in the air if I was going to be a physician or not.
I
Yeah.
still don't know how I got through that and couldn't answer a single question now, but it happened. We got through it. But
Right.
that's why I stopped playing softball. And then I did a fellowship. So I did a post-bac fellowship at the National Cancer Institute in between undergrad and medical school. And in that time, I had a kid and other things happened, and I needed money because I had gone from this person who had a job with a child to like now I'm in med school paying to be here, right? I'm not getting paid.
Right.
And so that was kind of where the business aspect of it came in because I still, had like things to do and bills to pay that exceeded what loans were going to be able to kind of accommodate with a child. And so I built a gym in my basement. I started to train folks, and it actually just became fun. It was like we used to go down there and just have life talks, and it was just kind of cool. It kind of is funny now thinking about it because at the time I didn't know that I wanted to go into psych. But thinking about it now, it was kind of like therapy in my basement, gym therapy. So it's kind of cool to see how it all came full circle in saying,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I love how you call it gym therapy. And then in residency, do you get any chance to actually implement that with your patient? I mean, I'm sure, being in a hospital and they might be there for any acute illness, but maybe in the outpatient space, when do you get to use that and then put that into your toolbox for patient care?
I actually have a lot of patients who don't want to take medication for various reasons. Um, and I also use it with patients who are taking medications, but could just use like different coping mechanisms, right? So, one of the things that I like to tell patients to do is like body weight squats or push-ups, especially those who like have sometimes when people have like big reactions to things, bigger reactions than other people might have.
Hmm.
The things that I have found effective is like, okay, you got to do 10 push-ups when you feel like things are like about to boil over. And it works. People will come in
I
and be
love
like,
it.
no, maybe not 10 out of 10 times, but 6 out of 10 times, doc, that helps. So I do get to kind of use that in a space where people are either reluctant to take medications or need some different coping mechanisms, which is nice.
Yeah,
Do you
that's nice.
prescribe
Yeah.
exercise?
So unofficially, per the literature, sure, but it is something that, within residency, no, because that's not, how it works. But one day in my, private career and in my professional career, I plan to because I do think that it's useful.
Because I
But it is
actually
Yeah.
do
something I
that.
recommend.
I
Oh
I
yeah, say
tell
more.
people that they need to exercise because the research does show that exercise is equivalent to about 10 milligrams of Prozac. And so if you're going to exercise, you're going to make yourself feel better. And so I
Hmm.
actually do prescribe that
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Well, then I
How
guess
does
I do. I recommend it. I wouldn't say I prescribe it.
Prescribed. Yeah, yeah. It's part of the recommendation you give people anyway. You sleep
what
well, you eat well, you exercise, about 3 times a week, 30 minutes a session, and keep your blood flow going, prevent dementia, for example. Um, yeah.
well, that's what I was going to ask you is how does fitness improve mental health that
Mhm.
you've noticed? How does it improve yours and how does it improve in general?
Mhm. So, I mean, it's kind of like you said, right? It's the equivalent of 10 milligrams of Prozac. I actually didn't know that. But, I know that it helps improve energy. I tell my patients and just my people in general all the time, it's like a pyramid scheme, right? Because you need energy. Like you feel like you need energy to work out, but the working out gives you energy.
Hmm. Hmm.
Things like whether you feel it or not, if you do it, you will eventually feel more energized. But it's a really bad pyramid scheme. But for the sake of just like you said, the way you feel, right? So having more energy. I also talk about it in what feels like a little bit of a deeper sense to me, which is doing the things so that the gifts that you have, right? We all have these gifts that, you know, only we can give the world in one way or another, right? And I look at fitness as something to help preserve that, right? I think about when my mom passed away and the first time I ever participated in any type of like therapy or like sought out any mental health resources just for grief, right? And I
Right.
think about when I walked in, there was this, young African American physician who looked like me, and it made it a lot easier to accept help, right? For me personally, as somebody who was a little bit skeptical going in, right? And if folks like that who represent a minority in whatever way, whether it is because you are a woman of color or somebody who played college softball or somebody who represents a group that people can identify with and therefore will accept help in a different way. Fitness can help to preserve that so that you can help more people. And so that's kind of how I remind myself when I wake up at 4:30 in the morning to go to the gym when I really want to sleep. That's how
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
it's a little bit deeper than just, how I feel today. It really is about how I feel over time and what I'm able to give over time.
hmm I'm glad you brought that up. Mentioning the African American community or Black people or people of color. Um, it's well described in literature that we have work to do in terms of accepting that we need to be more open to mental health and mental health care, and that we do need help. Have you been able to, meet the people where they at, so to speak, with sports? Because Black people in general are, for the most part, active in sports and whatnot. So, have you been able to use sports to reach them at that level and introduce them mental health? Kind of like an indirect way, because that's what we try to do on this with this podcast. We kind of use sports or news as a bait, and then you've been caught and you're talking about mental health, regardless. So, with your experience with Black folks and people that not necessarily are have the interest into getting into some kind of therapy or mental health? Have you been able to use sports and say, "Gotcha, we're doing mental health now"?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think yes. I mean, having a conversation. I'm gonna quote my mother here because this is what she used to say,
Please
right?
do, please do.
People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? And so finding any way to connect with people, but sports is a good one, especially being a college athlete. It's like one of those things people want to know more about, right?
Yeah,
And then you can kind of, navigate the windy road to ending up having conversations about a million other things. So I definitely do think sports and fitness is people love talking about working out. Even people who don't work out they love to talk about working out because it's like they're like, oh, I need to work out, right? And so it's one of those topics that it's easy to talk about with people. People always have questions. People are always more curious. And I do think it's a good segue into like, well, what do you do? Oh, well, why do you do it? Because I think the why is really important, not so much the what. So,
yeah. The why. I love that answer. Love that answer. If you don't mind, can you repeat the say that your mother said again? So I kind of like I think it's very poignant.
yeah. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so finding anything in common, sports or, whatever it is, it makes people
Yeah,
feel there's like a human aspect to just having a conversation, and
yeah,
trying to help folks.
yeah. That makes sense.
So I'm a college athlete too. So you're a college athlete. I'm a college athlete. You know that makes us a couple of college athletes cutting it up.
That was very subtle, Dmitry. That was very subtle. That was very, very subtle.
Good.
You know, that's what we are. That's what we are. Um, Before we get you out of here, I wanted to ask you one more thing. Um, if you could give us 10 exercises that people have to do, I'm going to pin you down to 10 here. Give us your top 10 exercises that you think people should do or have to do.
Yeah. So I so two things. I'm gonna plug myself here. So I actually have a fitness program that
Yep.
pretty much consists of
Okay.
the same 10 to 12 exercises in different orders for different lengths of time. Because it was the HIIT workouts that I did, the high intensity interval training, because I almost never had time to get to the gym sometimes, unless I went down to my basement, which also didn't always happen. And so the body weight workouts with bands and things like that. Um, just to get my heart rate up and then have a period of rest and then get my heart rate back up and then have a period of rest. So I think as far as what exercises are most important, I just want to say that like you
Top
don't
10.
need a gym. You don't need a gym. You
No.
need your body, right? So I would say for me it's jump roping because I hate running. I think I actually am very concerned for people who run regularly and I wonder why. I wonder why. I'm very curious about why they do that to themselves because I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But I
Bad for
do
your
like
knees too.
uh, science says it's bad for your knees. I just don't like it, right? But I do like jump roping. So I would say jump roping, squats, push-ups. I actually hate sit-ups and crunches. I actually think planks are like the best thing you can do for your core. Lunges, particularly Bulgarian lunges. Those are great. Stiff leg deadlifts. Deadlifts. if you have access to a gym. Lat pull downs, because I love a nice back. Um, Calf raises, because calves are often slept on and are very important to leg development. And this is going to sound wild and it's not going to make sense, but toe spacers, like time regularly with toe spacers. So you have like a good position on the floor. You can get them on Amazon for like $6. But I actually have that in my exercise routine.
Yeah, yeah. So you mentioned you have a routine. Tell us a bit about is it the business, right? You do. I think you have a mental health, background to it, but it is mostly exercise routine, and you coach people. And I think you also have some merchandise with your brand on it. So tell us a little bit more about your business into fitness.
Yeah, so the name of my business is Full Cup Fitness. And the theme behind that is empty cups don't pour, which I learned very well in med school, trying to take care of my mom and my baby. And then I had another baby, and I was trying to be a med student and call my friends, clean my house, all those things that kind of you pour out into a lot of people. But what is it that you give yourself to make sure you can continue to do that? And so that's kind of what working out has always been for me. And
Empty cup, don't pour. Oh, I love it.
so the name of the business is Full Cup Fitness. This is actually one of my workout
That's a
fits.
logo. Okay.
Yeah. So I have workout sets. I also have workout bands and jump ropes that can be purchased with the fitness program. And the fitness program, you get access for 3 months. And I can personalize it. So depending on how it works. So there's like a preset one that everybody gets. But if the time intervals need to change, or if, some exercise, people will message me and be like, this hurts my knee. I'll change it out for something else. So it's still an interactive kind of semi-personal training type of experience. And it's fun. I enjoy that I get a lot of joy out of that. Especially, again, residency, we're all physicians here. We are. It can be, there are days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finding things that are for joy. And I encourage, that's the other part of the business too, is just helping people find their thing that's just for joy, right? What do you do? It's not because you are a doctor or whatever. It's just for whoever you are. So like for me, it's perfume, right? That is my just for joy. Okay. I don't care what is going on, how terrible my day is. At least I smell good, right? And having one thing
No,
is
it's
really, really important.
yeah.
And it's kind of like, when we talked in May and, at my talk, finding that thing that gets you through no matter what. And I told the story about this picture that I have. It's me and my son and my mom on his first birthday. And my mom died a couple of days after that. And when I look at that picture, the first thing that I notice is that my pants are too big. And I remember crying that morning on my son's birthday because those pants were too big. And I had just bought those pants because my other pants were too big, right? And it was just such a reflection of how I hadn't been taking care of myself, how I hadn't been eating, how I hadn't been drinking water. I had not been doing my hair. Like there were just so many things in that picture that reflected somebody that wasn't taking care of themselves. And when I look at that picture and I remember that season of my life, some days, when I have a bad day, the thing I tell myself is, well, you know what? At least my pants fit today, right? Because I remember a time where even when things were not going well, I wasn't taking care of myself. But now, even when things aren't going well, I remember to like take care of myself, and my pants fit, and that's a win.
And your pants fit. Yeah, I love it.
That would be completely understandable though if you were taking care of your mom who was sick.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
To not take care of yourself, but it's important to do that anyway. So you found that out after that once she died and you looked at the picture. That's great. So we're going to get you out of here on this. So I wonder if you could help us out here. At the end of our show, we usually do a mental health tip of the day. So I was wondering if you could give us our mental health tip of the day.
I mean, you've been dropping them
I
left and
pinned
right.
you down.
I mean,
I pinned you down. It's okay if you don't.
No,
We can do it.
But
If
she's
you
been
have a
giving
mental
it,
health tip of the day.
she's been giving them like nonstop since we stopped talking to her.
So before you actually give it, let's play the intro to this, and then you can give us our mental health tip of the day.
Day full of hiccups, need a shake-up, listen up. It's the Psych Effect Podcast Mental Health Tip of the Day.
All right. Tip of the day. This time it's brought to you by DrFitBritt. Brittany Stallworth, take it away. Mental health tip of the day, if you got
Mental
one.
health tip of the day is have a I am statement that gets you through. So for me, right, I'm a physician, right, but I'm also from Southwest Detroit, and I also just love trap music. I can't help it, right? I'm pulling up to my job to be professional, but I'm coming in with trap music. And there's a song by Juvenile. It's called High, right? And in it, one of the lyrics is, "You're a paper chaser. You got your block on fire. You handle your biz to the moment you expire." And that's my I am statement. I'm a paper chaser. I got my block on fire. I handle my biz until the moment I expire. It could be more formal than that. I am smart. I am whatever. But for me, it's the Juvenile lyric. So have an I am statement that gets you through.
I love it. You love trap music.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure Brittany would love the music that we've been playing in this show, right? I think that's trap. Have you heard of somebody named GM Cash, or what's his name? What's his name? G-Mac Cash, right?
He's from Detroit.
Yeah, there you go. Detroit stand up. Detroit stand up. There you go.
I should have worn my buff.
Awesome.
Stay over there. I got
Montgomery Brawl, stand up, Detroit. Yeah. There you go.
Awesome. Thank you, Brittany, for coming on here and talking to us about your story and about fitness and mental health. And we'll keep on following you on Instagram. It's at DrFitBritt on Instagram, and we put our Linktree link on our last Instagram post. So go check it out. Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you.
Keep your cup full.
Amen.
All right. Take care.